Hello and welcome back to our cottage garden. I am really excited about this one because we're going to be just kind of strolling through the garden together. This isn't really a tour, we're just going to be kind of talking through our plans for this year, which is a really exciting thing to do and a really fun time to do it when the garden is looking a little bare, a little sad, a little gray. It's nice to just sort of dream. So let's dream together and walk through our garden. And this is the first time that you can actually, I think, properly see our cobblestone pathway that we did, which we are loving so much, you guys. So our main idea for the borders here is that we're going to just kind of build a little white picket fence to go along this arbor. That has been our plan for a while, but just to kind of create a really nice distinction between driveway and garden. I think that's going to be a really nice delineation. I've noticed that any clean lines in a cottage garden are so helpful because a cottage garden feels very wild and wiggly and squiggly. So anything that feels clear, intentional, and clean is a really nice kind of break from all of that wildness, which we all love the wildness too, right? But all through these borders, I'm really going to be embracing vegetables, I think this year, vegetables and fruits. We might even continue with the strawberries, maybe doing some more strawberries. I had kind of taken that out of the list, but I think I might add it in just because it's so fun to be able to just harvest strawberries from the cottage borders. I think we're going to redo these tripods as well to try and have them match this rose arbor. And also, we'll get to this in a minute, but back there, we're going to be taking down the arbor over there, the rounded arbor that we made, our Robinson Crusoe arbor, which is one of the first things that we made in the garden. And but we really wanted to create it in a way that it kind of fits and matches with the rest of the hardscape that we're doing. And so we're going to make some really pretty tripods here. And if you want to see those, I'm sure we'll make a video for that, but let me know if that's something that you're interested in, because my husband does a lot of woodworking and that'll be a fun project for us to do together, I think. And I think up those, I really want to grow cucumbers here because the cucumbers in the other garden, they just get afflicted so badly with the cucumber beetle. They look like little circus performers. They're like yellow and black. But we were thinking maybe if they're mixed in amongst other things in the cottage border instead of a monoculture, that it could be a lot easier. So maybe we'll do some beans, morning glory, and then some cucumbers growing up those vines. And we'll just sort of see what happens. Or excuse me, peas, because I think we'll do an early succession of the peas, the Oregon sugar pod, and then we can get rid of those, start the cucumbers, that kind of thing. So we have a succession of nice vegetables through the cottage borders. I think next year I'm just so excited to see things leaping because so many of these plants, this is going to be their third year in the ground. So this is going to be the leap and I'm so excited for that. In terms of the plans for the annuals, I still really want to have tons of annuals that cascade over the path, especially now that we have a beautiful path that we're really proud of and excited about showcasing. I'm so excited to plant things like, I think we're going to go heavy on verbenas and probably some of the sun patiens this year along the borders. Now the sun patiens aren't going to spill over into the border, but the verbena definitely will. And the sun patiens just performed so well for us last year that we're going to probably go heavy on those this year. So in terms of petunias, I think we'll probably do some petunias in pots this year. We might even kind of stack some pots very discreetly in the back of the borders, maybe even behind some shrubs so that those petunias can have a little bit of height. But I don't think we're going to be doing them in the ground just because pulling the slugs off is just not my favorite chore. That's not my favorite garden chore. So I think we're going to mitigate that this year. But yeah, tons and tons of those really beautiful verbenas, I think, going into the border. I think this year we just had a little bit of a slump with them. I think just the weather just wasn't right for them. They just were a little bit off. So I'm going to give them next year to really thrive. And then we're going to go really heavy on the salvias. So again, plain the blue salvia and probably the rockin' deep purple salvia as well, which the hummingbirds just love. And I kind of want to spread that throughout the border because it's a warmer day. Some of our neighbors are doing a little bit of work, so hopefully that's not too distracting. And then in the back of these borders here, I really want to go heavy on the foxgloves. I think that's going to be our main annual that we plant from seed this year. We might do some hollyhocks as well, but really I want to go super heavy on the foxgloves, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my plans for that a little bit later. But yeah, some of these are going to be great. I want to put some more dogwoods in the back of the borders. We have this baptisia right here, and this is a yellow baptisia, but I really want to continue those baptisias. We put 2 more on this side that are going to be more of a blue-purple color, and so I want to do a few more on this side as well, just to sort of match that. Our ground cover game was one of our goals last year, and I think we did a really good job with it. We have tons of lamium that we just transplanted, so I think that'll be really fun. We're going to probably extend and play around with this line of this border over here. I'll just come really quickly. With this border, we'll probably make this path a little bit longer and then just have this border come all the way down. But we haven't really decided on that yet. So I'll let you know once we do. Oh, I got a little chilly. My fingers are cold. Are yours okay? Okay. Oh yeah, and one thing I wanted to say, so on the sides of our cobblestone pathway, we had the little edging, and we decided to take that out because it just was really hard to sort of bury it in the ground. And Burt was just saying, I think it's actually going to be fine as it is if we just mulch. Our plan was always to mulch around it, but now that we've done that, I just love how it looks. It looks so clean. It just sort of looks like it just rose up out of the ground. It's really nice. It looks much more organic this way. Let's see some of our other plans. I think we're probably going to divide some more of our ground covers. Like this ajuga is really, really beautiful, and it stays this purple color basically the entire winter, excuse me, this beautiful purple color. It's very beautiful. And I love that sort of purple and then the sage green. That one in particular is very beautiful. And I love it. I think it's a burgundy glow is the name of that one in particular. But yeah, kind of spreading these out so we have a lot of really gorgeous ground covers in this area. I think it's going to be beautiful. These phlox here are blue moon phlox. The scent on those is incredible. They're a beautiful lilac color, and there was one here and one on the other side, kind of matching and flanking the path. And I want to divide those and have more of them. I haven't really been able to find many more of that variety in the garden centers, so I really want to create more. For the roses here, the fairy roses, I've been talking about this and I keep going back and forth. Part of me really wants to transplant them on the hillside and then plant maybe some small hydrangeas, that stay, in the 2 to 3 feet tall and wide side of things, because I think that could be a really nice thing, especially if we can get them to stay blue or purpley colored. I think that would be really, really pretty. Lots of foxgloves all throughout. That's the plan this year. We're gonna have to plant some first-year foxgloves. Along here, it's just nice that we have a kind of a wider border here. So now, whereas before it really came right up to the hydrangea standards, now we have like another few feet to play with on either side. So just filling this in, I think, is gonna be really nice. I was thinking maybe either the lamium or some ajuga could be really pretty. The ajuga flowers are this beautiful kind of blue and white bicolor, and they're really nice little stalks of flowers that I think could be really pretty at the base of these hydrangeas. We're going to be doing something in here in terms of a path. We might reseed it with some nice grass seed that does well in this area. And then we were thinking about doing just kind of a stone pathway, maybe just kind of like skipping stone style, where it's either, we do like a stack of bricks here and there, or a square of bricks rather, the way that we did in the other area of our garden with the smaller paths. That could be really, really nice. Some of our plans for the backs of these borders are I really want to kind of create something that's going to be there in the depths of winter. So maybe kind of going hard on those boxwood pillars that you can see over there. Those boxwood pillars are really beautiful and they're a great structure for our garden. So maybe putting a few boxwood pillars in there's a raised garden here. We've talked about maybe turning that into, I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but it's basically this area here covered in leaves right now. But it's actually, that was the only kind of garden bed that they had, was just this little garden bed, and they just had one daylily in there when we moved in, and everything else was grass and stones. And so, but we were thinking about just kind of carving this area out, maybe doing a little water feature, a little pond, or doing, some evergreen interest. Because right now, as you can see, it just looks a little bit like boring. Over here, with our juniper bed. We'll probably have to rename this soon because I think we're gonna take out this juniper. She's just not happy here, not getting enough sun, just doesn't love it here. The junipers we've tried several different times and they don't love it. So I think we might try her on the hill and see if she likes it a little bit better there. I mean, fair enough. It's a little bit damp here. It's a little bit, you know, shady. It's like dark and damp, and they like it dry and hot typically. So we'll try and move her over and see if she likes it a little bit better over there. But I'm so excited to see this bed this year. So funny when we're walking around this time of year because I'm sure it just looks like nothing, but I can see it all. I can see all the things and the way it's gonna look. So this bed is one that I'm so excited about. We put astilbes all throughout this bed that we just divided. And it's this beautiful purple spires, astilbe, and I just am so excited to see that throughout. We have so many different perennials that are, again, going to be in their leap year, well into their leap year. And so that'll just be so pretty. And then some new ones that we put in, like a Jacob's ladder and things like that. Lots of bulbs. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see the bulbs come up. We matched this hydrangea on this side. So we'll try and prune this one back pretty far so that they can maybe match a little bit more. They probably won't because this is so established at this point and this is a new one for us. We are going to be taking this out. She's ready to go. Yeah, so we were gonna clear off the morning glories, but we figured since we're gonna be taking it out anyway, I pulled the clematis off and sort of brought it around that way so that that one can still go up. But I'm thinking, yeah, a really beautiful cottage white style, just so that it feels very fresh and clean and tidy with all of this jumble of beautiful flowers and foliage all around it. Don't you think that would look really nice? Yeah, I think it'll be really pretty. It's a nice entrance into our dining garden. Be careful coming under this, you guys. So in here, oh my gosh, some of the bulbs are already coming up. Go back under, you have 5 more months. What are you doing? But we have lots and lots of bulbs in here, and the dining garden is just, I'm so excited for this year. We're probably gonna put away the table for this year, and I think eventually we probably do wanna get a nice outdoor kind of proper table. This was just a bargain one at our local charity shop. But yeah, I think there are just so many perennials that we transplanted in here. This is our whole astilbe border with some Nepeta kind of tumbling down the rock walls. We have lots of Japanese forest grass, clusters and clusters. I think that's just going to be gorgeous, and I want to go so hard on the hydrangeas. I want to have hydrangeas all throughout the back here. I just think that would be gorgeous. And in the back of these little jelly beans, can't you picture that? Hydrangea bushes just in the back here like that, and then climbers along our little deer fence. So, so pretty. I'm really excited to see how this is gonna unfold for us. We have lots of spring perennials in here. We have some pulmonaria. The lamium tends to bloom really early for us, so that'll be really pretty to have that as well. We have some periwinkle, lots of foxgloves. It's the grandiflora foxglove. And then we have tons of ferns that Burt foraged from the property and just transplanted here. We have, there are so many other things. Violets. We have, what else do we transplant here? Oh, we have astilbes around there. I know tons of hostas. Whole hosta area. It's harder for me to picture this area because it's so new to us and we haven't ever seen it in its full glory because we put it everything in at the beginning of or end of October, I suppose. So when it was starting to get really cold, we put things in. But I'm so excited about the bulbs that we planted. So many tulips. It's just going to be so fun to sit out here on those like the first warm days of the season. Oh my gosh! All right, let's go in the backyard and I'll show you our ideas for there. All right, so in the back here, it's not looking like much right now, but this is where we're gonna be putting our sunken garden. I am probably most excited about this project. This is gonna be our big project for next year, is to really develop the back garden and turn it from a backyard into a back garden. Because right now it's just a nasty looking backyard. It doesn't look very happy. And it's because, our intention hasn't been to do anything in this space. And so our attention hasn't been here, our intention hasn't been clear. And so then nothing has really happened, which is okay. You know, it's a really nice spot. This is probably where we get the most kind of afternoon sun. This is a really like a little pocket of sunlight in the afternoon. It's the afternoon right now, but obviously the sun is setting at like 2:30 right now for us over the mountains. So but usually in the summertime, this will be in the sun for a decent amount of the day, which is really nice because that gives us an opportunity to plant tons of things back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the plan is to have a few little stone steps here that go down into this little sunken garden area here. And we have a little set of, you know, a little couch and 2 chairs and a little bench, a little coffee table kind of set up to have here. We also have a fire pit area too, if we wanted to kind of play around with that, which will be pretty easy to do because there's not that many trees right overhead, you know, so it's pretty clear. So that's an option as well. But I think typically we'll just be using it as just kind of a chill spot. Georgie can run around back here in the grass and we can just sit and have some tea, hang out, have lunch. You know, I think it'll be really, really nice. And in the back, we have planted lots of daffodils and some alliums. I'm thinking we do some really established kind of plants back here. And our goal is to do a lot of deer-resistant plants. So plants that can kind of tolerate some deer grazing. And that way, what we can do is just have things that can still flourish. We can kind of test things and how the deer respond to them and just sort of play around with it without having to worry about surrounding this whole area with a giant fence, which would take up most of our budget, our gardening budget, and also most of our gardening time to do that. So I think instead we'd like to just get sunk into the sunken garden in something that we're excited about doing, you know? So that's really the plan, is to kind of test out some things. You know, there are things like annual salvias that are supposed to be pretty deer resistant. The salvias have never really been touched by the deer here, and we've gone heavy on them before we even had our deer fence in. So things like salvias, we're going to play around a lot with it. Maybe some pulmonaria, lots of little things that we can play around with. If you have some suggestions or things that you'd maybe even like us to try out, if you're wondering if it's deer resistant, it'll do well in your garden, then please let me know and we'll try and get our hands on them so we can test them out for you. But yeah, a beautiful kind of English style sunken garden in here with a beautiful backdrop. This is all green in season. This is all a backdrop of green, which is gorgeous. And so to have that with the backdrop of green, tons of flowers, just an explosion of color. Then over here, I'm so excited about this spot because our plan is to collect ferns from all over the property and make this our little fernery kind of, and then fill it with ferns and foxgloves. One of you had shared that you did ferns and foxgloves in one of your borders, and I think that is just such an incredible idea. Those are 2 of my favorite plants of all time, and just to be able to have this whole swathe of them right here, I think would just be such a beautiful feature, and also a gorgeous way as you're coming down around the corner there. That would just be a wonderful thing to kind of greet you as you come down. We have clumps and clusters of daffodils all throughout the borders here. And, you know, we have tons of plans for the actual back of our cottage. So I know for sure we're going to be doing window boxes that are kind of matching the window boxes in the front of the property. So we can fill those with lots of flowers and things that really don't mind the shade. And then we can just water them from the windows, right? But there's also so many ideas that we have. We have some climbing hydrangeas, a Japanese maple, lots of bulbs on up against the house. But the backdrop is just so tough that we've been thinking about maybe doing a stone wall, like creating a wall against on the actual facade of the wall. So taking maybe stones from the property and creating that against our basement. I think that could be a really fun project. We definitely learn a lot now that we have a better understanding of how to kind of work with the stones. We've been talking about it and we're just both getting really excited about it. That area is so beautiful right up against there and has so much potential, but it just is not. Right now there's just lattice work. I'm sorry, I'm getting so cold. You can probably tell my mouth. Yeah, and it just hasn't worked. What we've done is sort of temporary solutions, and I think we want to do something that makes it look a little bit cleaner in the back. I think it'll just be really, really beautiful. And then we want to get a new garage door and things like that. Just we need to do some kind of general things for the house, but we'll take you along for those if you're interested in that. And I think that's basically it. I had one more kind of plan that I can show you if you want to see along the side. Okay, I'll show you that. So right this way, if you watched the video where we did the ornaments for the animals, like the wildlife ornaments, the squirrels ate them within minutes. I was leaving them out here, they were all gone. So this side area actually has a really pretty stone wall, but it's sort of like it's just the bottom of our porch, and it's just this black hole of nothingness. And so what we're going to do is, like I talked about, kind of bringing the line of that bed at the front. If you can kind of get your bearings, that's where the rose arbor is. Kind of bringing down this line here. I can come on this side. Bringing down this line here. So it kind of meets here, and then creating a border back here. And I was thinking something like maybe Gatsby Gal hydrangeas, pulmonaria, some ferns. Obviously there are things that work really well in our area, and that's what I like to lean heavily on. If we're doing this as a deer resistant, deer friendly garden or whatever, then the hydrangeas might not work because I think they'll probably want to eat those. But having some kind of a shrub that they will leave alone, or maybe nibble a little bit, but not nibble down to the ground, could be nice just to create some intentionality to this space. So that's kind of the goal and plan right now. We did this fence this year and put in the gates, and I'm so glad that we did that. It was a really nice little project, and there have been so many projects that we've done this year that I'm just so happy with. So I can't wait to take you along with these projects this year. Stay tuned, like this video if you like, subscribe if you're not already. It really does help us out. Let me know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future. Do you want to see videos about, designing your garden design? I can share the basics of garden design. I can share some the 101, or I can do some more detailed things. So let me know. Do you want to learn more about cottage gardening? Let me know what you'd like to hear more of from us, and we'll see you again in the next one. Okay, bye.